Oh boy, I got a lot to say about this year's Extreme Rules, and it's not gonna be pretty, trust me. You know, I'm gonna tell you something. Back in the day when I was 6 years old, I started to become a wrestling fan. And it was at the right time when the Attitude Era was blowing up for the WWF, and WCW, they were blowing up, and ECW, that very promotion that I first discovered, that when one of my cousins, my older cousins, showed me a videotape of this here, and I was just like, whoa, Extreme Championship Wrestling. That is when that promotion meant extreme in terms of their hardcore style. Hardcore as in balls to the walls, blood and guts, barbed wires, baseball bats, steel chairs, frying pans. Fans are clamoring for them, cheering for them, and as a huge cult that always believed in the extreme and believed in Paul Heyman, as he said that ECW was more than just a wrestling promotion. ECW was a lifestyle. It was anti-establishment. It was counterculture, and it was all in your face. And boy, was he right. And sadly, in 2001, it died due to bankruptcy. And in 2005, it resurrected for a brief time for ECW's reunion show One Night Stand. And then a year later, in another One Night Stand, a good reunion. And it turned into a brand just for WWE's bigger gain and become more of a shell of its former self. Then that WWE brand died in 2010 and then replaced it with NXT. And you know, the rest is history. I had so many great times watching ECW. The pure blood and guts, the hardcore excitement, the brutality, and I freaking loved every single minute of it. That old ECW that I loved by Paul Heyman himself. So, that being said, after this history lesson, let's fast forward to today. To WWE Extreme Rules, formerly known as WWE's One Night Stand. Formerly known as ECW's One Night Stand. And this year's Extreme Rules is going to be starting tomorrow. And personally, this pay-per-view right here is anything but extreme. A pay-per-view in July. A pay-per-view where this match means anything goes, that every match is no disqualifications, no countouts, and ironically there's only 7 out of the 12 matches here in this card only have some certain stipulations that have no disqualifications or countouts, but you have certain rules that consist of normal wrestling rules that has disqualifications and a countout. So the question we gotta ask ourselves to WWE, why are we even bothering having Extreme Rules in the WWE pay-per-view calendar? I mean, seriously, like, why the hell would you have a pay-per-view that advertises as a pay-per-view where every match here has no disqualifications, no countouts, where they can fight, they can brawl, anything goes, but yet you only have 7 out of 12 matches that have these no disqualifications and no countouts or certain stipulations to some extent, and yet the rest of the 4 out of that 12 only have a normal set of rules, you know, disqualifications, countouts here, all of this that are strictly prohibited in certain cases. I mean, like, really, WWE? You have a pay-per-view that is Extreme Rules, and this is the best you can come up with. Some of these matches here are your best foot forward. I mean, with all the build-up or lack thereof. Jeez. And since we're in the PG era, where we're not supposed to have any blood or swearing or any savagery of their own whatsoever to some extent, why the hell would you even have the pay-per-view Extreme Rules to begin with? I mean, like, seriously, like, just get rid of it and replace it with something else, with, I don't know, the Great American Bash or Bash at the Beach, since we're in the middle of summer. I mean, like, Extreme Rules in July? I mean, that doesn't make any sense. Seriously. Also, there's a lot of things here that I wanted to bring up. There's some certain things I wanted to bring up regarding the card that I wanted to talk about here. I am going to do a tangent here while doing some quick predictions here. And the reason why I say quick predictions, because I am not going to go through one match after another here regarding this card, because hey, this is Extreme Rules. It has poor build-up, so I'm not even going to bother going through one match after another. Poor booking, poor build-up here. Let's just get it over with. Alright, let's take a look here. The first two matches, one of them is an Extreme Rules match, not going to be on the pay-per-view here. AJ Styles versus Rusev, a normal rules match, not an Extreme Rules match here. Matt Hardy and Bray Wyatt versus the B-Team for the tag team titles here for the Raw brand, not an Extreme Rules match here. The Bludgeon Brothers versus Team Hell No, not an Extreme Rules match. A Roman Reigns versus Bobby Lashley, which we can tell it's going to be main eventing anyway, not an Extreme Rules match. Jeff Hardy versus Shinsuke Nakamura, not an Extreme Rules match. Finn Balor versus Baron Corbin, not an Extreme Rules match. Carmella versus Asuka, a poorly booked match here, not an Extreme Rules match. Alexa Bliss versus Nia Jax, one of the only matches that is a Extreme Rules match. And the irony is that Alexa Bliss is the type of wrestler that is not going to take bumps, who has lazy work ethic, and refuses to take bumps here like it's going to go out of style. So why the hell would you put this match as an Extreme Rules match with a rivalry that is just terrible? You have a legit rivalry in Bayley versus Sasha Banks that could have gone all the way with the women's championship, then it could meant something. But instead, we get Alexa Bliss versus Nia Jax. A poor rivalry because WWE makes Bayley and Sasha Banks be too busy being in therapy session with Dr. Shelby, aka the former therapist of Team Hell No, which I already mentioned that this is the tag team they're going to be in here. Another nostalgic rehash by this point. Braun Strowman versus Kevin Owens in a steel cage match. Braun Strowman is being booked very poorly. I mean, seriously, booked very poorly. Jeff Hardy versus Shinsuke Nakamura. The AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura rivalry is now being died out because WWE just keep pushing it month after month after month after month, and now it's overstayed its welcome at this point. The only match right here, in my opinion, that is worth a damn is Dolph Ziggler versus Seth Rollins, the 30-minute Iron Man match for the Intercontinental title. Something worth a damn, while every single match here within this card, to some extent, some of these certain matches that I mentioned here is going to fizzle out like a rotten Gene boner. And 12 matches. 12 freaking matches here. And we're going to get 4 hours of this pay-per-view. Like we're going to get this on every pay-per-view on the monthly, because WWE has to please their stockholders that be, hey, there's a lot of people watching, we're giving you a lot more for the fans, more matches. Yeah, more matches where there's no good quality in terms of build-up. I swear, it's shit like this that it just makes me want to hate WWE more in terms of their lousy booking. I heard that they're going to have a $2 billion deal from Fox and a 5-year, $360 million a year deal from the USA Network, from NBC Universal, and yet we get bullshit booking from them like this. But hey, this is the creative team that is so fizzled, that is so confused, that is so asinine, run by a man named Vincent Kennedy McMahon, an old senile bastard who just does nothing more but undermine everything that NXT does in terms of booking and just insult the fans every single freaking time when a pay-per-view comes in, unless there's something good out of it, so they just rehash some nostalgic things just for the hell of it, while just screwing over the young guns, screwing over the talent that we have today, just for the hell of it. I don't fucking know. It just boggles my mind. Hey, you know something? You know what my advice is? Hey, if you want a good event with some emotional development, something you want to be emotionally invested in, wake up at 10 a.m., tune into Fox or Telemundo and go watch the World Cup finals between France and Croatia. A soccer match that it's worth watching. You'll thank me later.